am Rosie May. I'm the Director of Curatorial Affairs and Audience Engagement here at the museum, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our program and then introduce our two presenters. So thank you for attending this morning, our fellow friend and sustainer members. And I want to start with the collection at OKCMOA is really our greatest asset. And its preservation, interpretation, and access are really at the core of what we do. The disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and our ongoing strategic commitment to accessibility made us aware of a need to expand access to our collection beyond the museum's walls. So today's presentation is going to give you a little behind the scenes glimpse into how we're doing this. So first, our Director of Collections and Exhibitions, Maury Ford, is going to share how we are digitizing the museum's collection and the impact that has. And then our Manager of Teacher and School Programs, Tori Waldron, will walk us through how our virtual field trip program offers interactive virtual collection experiences for teachers and their students around the state and beyond. So I'll start with Maury Ford.
So the American Alliance of Museums defines digitization as the creation and management of digital objects from their physical analog originals. So simply put, this is taking this great Kehinde Wiley painting that you're familiar with and creating a digital version of it for use in some online format, or in this case, a presentation. These digital versions can take the form of photographs or videos or even 3D models, but they all have embedded information in them known as metadata that aid in searching, sorting, and retrieval. So why is digitization important? Why do museums and other cultural institutions spend vast amount of time and resources in creating digital objects? So it varies based on the type and the size of the institution, but for us, digitization helps us preserve the collection and knowledge about the collection. So we seek to preserve the actual objects in our collection for as long as possible. So digital versions of these objects, like this very fragile drawing here, help us reduce condition issues caused by frequent handling and display. Consistent imaging also creates a history of the state of the preservation of the object over time. And finally, some objects are just too rare or fragile to display in certain circumstances. So we can create facsimiles from digital objects to serve as exhibition versions in those cases. Digitization also opens up access to the collection. Museums can typically only display about 5 to 7% of their permanent collection at any given time. OKCMOA is no different. We have around 4,500 objects in our collection, depending on how you count them. And as of this morning, we only have 3% of that collection on view. So we can share digital versions of our collection and open up our entire collection to the public. We can also use digital resources to create merchandise to sell in the museum store. So these raise funds for programming at the museum, and then visitors get a keepsake that they can take home that deepens their connection with us. Digitization also increases research opportunities for the collection. We have a very small staff and a very diverse collection. And we strive to compile the most complete and accurate set of information for each object in our collection, but sometimes that falls outside of our expertise. So we can share digital images or videos of our collection objects to scholars all over the world for help. In the same vein, our objects can easily become part of research and publications all over the world, dissertations, exhibition catalogs, and the like. So believe it or not, we have a fairly long history with digitization. taking photographs of collections and exhibitions goes back to the earliest days of the Oklahoma Art Center across the street at the Municipal Auditorium. When we moved downtown to this building in 2002, we started thinking about ways to improve our digital resources. And that began, as the technology allowed, with the scanning of our film and slide collections. And then later, as technology improved and became more accessible, we started creating what are known as born digital resources from digital cameras. So we had continued slowly building our digital assets as we had time and budget to do so, but it really ramped up in 2014 when the museum joined the Google Cultural Institute, now known as Google Arts and Culture. So what is Google Arts and Culture? Well, starting in 2011, Google started putting substantial resources into the creation of an online platform where partner institutions like OKCMOA can make available objects in their collections using high-resolution digital images. So visitors to Google Arts and Culture can view works of art from all over the world, and partner institutions like us can create online exhibitions and even take part in other Google technology initiatives like creating street view style walkthroughs through the gallery. So this allowed us to create a more substantial online presence for the collection with little upfront costs. Then in 2020, everything changed. The COVID-19 pandemic forced the museum to temporarily close its doors, and all of our programming and access moved online. We quickly realized how important digital resources were to achieving our mission. And there were also areas that we noticed could use a lot of improvement. So this is kind of a really eerie image that I found in my phone. This is March of 2020 from the third floor of the museum, and there are no cars and no people. So when we reopened, we immediately began seeking out ways to increase our digital access. So once again, Google contacted the museum and offered help with its art camera. In 2021, or late 2020 and early 2021, OKCMOA became the first North American institution to take part in the Google Art Camera Loaner Program. Usually Google sends a team of experts to aid in the use of their technology, but because of the pandemic, Google was testing out a program in which museum staff would use their technology, and we were the first North American institution that they trusted to do that. So what is the Google Art Camera? Well, it's this weird box here, and it's an insanely high-resolution camera that was developed by Google in 2016. And what it does is it scans the face of a painting or a two-dimensional work of art and takes dozens of high-resolution images. Then using a proprietary software, it stitches those images together like a quilt to form what's known as a gigapixel image. Now, you may have heard of megapixel, which is equivalent to 1 million pixels. Gigapixel is equivalent to 1 billion pixels. So these gigapixel images can be viewed in ultra high resolution, and you can zoom in to the brushstroke level. So this is one of the 156 images that we took with the Google Art Camera. You may recognize this very small work of art from our landscape, or I'm sorry, our still life gallery that currently is off view, but is usually in our first gallery on the second floor. So I've highlighted a piece of fruit in the basket here to showcase the amount of resolution that you're able to get with Google's Art Camera. Multiple institutions have taken part of this in this program, and so You can view images from our collection in this resolution, and you can also, one of my favorite things to do is to find a Van Gogh that's been taken in gigapixel and zoom into the brush strokes on that, because it's pretty amazing. So while we were still utilizing and finishing up with the Google Art camera, we received the unbelievable news that we had been awarded substantial funding from the Kirkpatrick Foundation to expand our digitization efforts. So this funding, this foundational grant, allowed for new high-resolution photography for our entire paintings collection, a full collections inventory, the addition of a staff position to help in this effort, an internal digital asset management system, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then finally, making our full permanent collection available online through our website in a searchable format. So I would just like to take a little bit of time in my presentation here to thank the Kirkpatrick Foundation, because everything that you're about to hear from now on, the exciting things that we're doing with this grant, is made possible only by the Kirkpatrick Foundation. And we are truly indebted to them for this exciting program. With this funding, we've reached some very exciting milestones in our digitization efforts. So as of today, I am proud to announce that we have photographed over 95% of our paintings collection. We continue to photograph weekly, and we plan on wrapping this up in the next few weeks. Now, this hasn't been easy, and it's taken a little bit longer than we had expected, because during the period, as you know, new COVID variants popped up, limiting our time in the building. We also do not have a photographer on staff, so we've had to contract one and work around his schedule. Finally, we do not have a dedicated space for the photography of works of art. So we've had to get creative in some senses, closing galleries, using our collection storage, classrooms, depending on the size of the work of art. In April of 2022, we launched Resource Space, which is our internal digital asset management system. Before April of 2022, our staff would have to comb through hard drives, network storage, CDs, thumb drives, old computers, floppy disk, you name it, to maybe find what they were looking for. Wasn't guaranteed. And so we needed a better way to find these new digital resources that we were creating. So we created Resource Space. We didn't create it, we bought Resource Space. And it has revolutionized the way that we find and share digital resources. Using Resource Space, our staff can simply search on a term and pull up multiple digital resources based on their metadata, easily share those or download them in any size that they need. So this is a short video of what it looks like to be inside Resource Space. You can see that you can search based on hat or any other term and pull up all of the resources that are tagged with that term. You can scroll through, select the one that you want. You can see that there are options for download, and then you can view all of the associated metadata. So it's also linked to our collections database, so all of the information that we compile about the object that you're viewing is also easily accessible, and then you can share that resource with both internal and external viewers at the click of a button. Collections online. This one is a huge one for me personally. This has been a goal of mine for the past decade, and I am very, very excited to share that our entire permanent collection, including long-term loans, are now available in a searchable format through OKCMOA.com. Visitors can view all works using simple and advanced searches. They can sort by artist. And the coolest part for me is that you can log in, create a account, and save your favorite artworks into your own collection, create your own exhibitions through your account. And so we hold our collection in trust for the public, as you're all aware, and now our public truly has unlimited access to the collection. You can view it all whenever it's convenient to you. So we're truly excited of the impact that this will have on scholars, researchers, teachers, students, and the general public. So this is what collections.okcmoa looks like. You can see that there are some categories that you can view. You can also look at what's currently on view, or you can view all of the works. Then you can sort them however you see fit. You can also view these works by the artist or maker using the People tab. So you can see all of the different artists and makers that are associated with the collection and view all of their works. Or you can do an advanced search based on various different categories and fields, and date, title, artist, object number, department, classification, whether it's on view, whether it has an image available. So in this case, we're searching for installation art and bringing up the 7 works that we have currently classified as installation art. So you can also, like I was mentioning, create an account and save your favorite objects. So this is a search on our WPA collection. You can expand the image to see a bigger version, and then you can click the heart button and create a favorite. And so you put in some very brief information, and you can create collections within your registration and create your own exhibits, your favorites, works that you'd like to come see the next time you're here. So this is huge. We are kind of late to the game in this. Other larger museums have been doing this for a long time, but this, I can't stress how big of a deal having your entire collection online in a searchable format is. So what's next? Well, we continue to clean up our collections database so that we can make more information that we have associated with each object available through our collections website. So things like label text, provenance, exhibition history, to create a more complete picture of the objects that you're looking at. Digitizing our paintings collection was just what we considered phase 1. We're still seeking out new opportunities to continue our digitization efforts for our works on paper, prints, drawings, photographs, as well as our sculpture and decorative arts collections. So with these improved digital images, we're also seeking to increase our presence on Google Arts and Culture, building out stories, online exhibitions, and we recently received the exciting news that Google is starting to create themes. So these themes could be anything from the color blue, or photographs, or the Netherlands, but more recently they've started creating themes around cities. So they've started with cities like Atlanta, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and they take resources from partner institutions in the city, and they create a theme around it. So later this year or early next year, Google is putting resources into creating a theme on Oklahoma City. So partner institutions from Oklahoma City will be able to have their stories, objects incorporated into a larger theme on Google Arts and Culture. So this is very exciting, and I'll give you just a sense of what that would look like. This is the theme page for Pittsburgh. So you can pick your own Pittsburgh adventure, discover more about the Steel City, and all of this is resources from partner institutions in the city of Pittsburgh. Thank you very much, especially to the Kirkpatrick Foundation once again. Thank you all for coming this morning. Very much appreciate it. And now I am going to turn it over to Tori Waldron, our Manager of Digital and Gallery Learning, to speak about our exciting virtual field trip program.
Wonderful. So, first and foremost, I want to thank everyone for coming bright and early on this Saturday morning to listen to me talk about our virtual field trip program. As Maury just said, my name is Tori Waldron, and I am the Manager of Digital and Gallery Learning here at the museum. So first and foremost, you may be asking yourself, what is a virtual field trip? It's a great question. And here is a short answer. I promise there will also be a longer answer. First and foremost, a virtual field trip is a live, inquiry-driven, virtual exploration of the museum's collection, or of course, one of our lovely visiting exhibitions. Each virtual field trip is led by a museum educator and aligns to the Oklahoma State Department of Education's standards. Let's look a little deeper. Bring the Oklahoma City Museum of Art into your classroom with one of our unique virtual field trip sessions. During a virtual visit, your students will explore the galleries of OKCMOA using inquiry-driven teaching with a museum educator. Our virtual field trips are available for free to classrooms of all grade levels, including pre-K and college. Most sessions last around 30 to 45 minutes. Virtual field trips may be booked individually or as multiple visit units, and all virtual field trip sessions align with Oklahoma academic standards.
An experience like going to the art museum in Oklahoma City isn't physically accessible to the kids that come to our school. Those artworks with an expert who can really answer the students' questions and give a lot of context and a lot of history behind the works, I think it's really eye-opening. It brings something to the kids in the classroom that they don't get to see every day.
Contact the Oklahoma City Museum of Art to reserve your virtual visit today. So not only is that a longer answer to what a virtual field trip is, it also gives you a little bit more insight into what exactly a virtual field trip looks like. I am happy to announce and tell you that the real star of that video has joined us today. I do have my virtual field trip cart, and that is actually a hugely important part of conducting a virtual field trip. I personally could not do my job without my cart, so happy to have them here with me. In case you missed it during the video, I did just want to pull a few bullet points that I think are really important in understanding why we have a program like a virtual field trip program. I'm highlighting these because I think they also show you the difference between our lovely in-person field trip programs and what my goal as a museum educator is and as the manager of the virtual field trip program. I would like to highlight that thanks to our funders, these are offered at no cost to pre-K through 12th grade and college students. Moreover, all of these services can be accessed multiple times by the same class. And that's something that I'm really proud of. I think it's a great way, just like Maury has been working on, to really increase access to our collections. The other thing that I would also like to highlight is that one of the major differences between an in-person field trip and a virtual field trip is our virtual field trips are a little bit shorter. They're about 30 to 45 minutes, which makes them ideal for people who are in middle school and high school, just because usually those classes are a little bit shorter. Why are virtual field trips important? I think there are a lot of reasons. This program was begun in September of 2021 in direct response to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, it has changed, it has morphed, and although physical distancing requirements still exist, they are still important, we are also hoping to use this program to increase our impact, especially on rural Oklahoman students. Quick side note, the pictures that are included are actually from the same class of the teacher who did the voiceover in the video. So when she was talking about how important virtual field trips are for her students, here is a literal example of the impact that it had on students, being able to show them really wonderful works of art like our Kahindi Wiley. The other unique aspect of virtual field trips is that we can organize them according to a specific topic, or we use the word unit. What that means for us is we try to align them to Oklahoma State Department of Education standards and work within a specific curriculum topic. So what that means is for our visiting exhibitions, like William H. Johnson and Art and Activism, we are able to specifically market them to social studies teachers. My personal favorite, and a surprisingly popular one, is the Art of Geometry, using Ellsworth Kelly. That's actually very popular. We are also offered to meet other standards, like science or STEAM, using our lovely Chihuly collection. And of course, certainly last but never least, English language arts, using our narrative art. All of these things really allow us to expand upon and offer teachers from different curriculums and different grade levels a unique experience. So these are customized. I personally usually reach out to the teacher in advance and say, all right, I see we're working with some lovely third grade geometry students. What are we talking about in particular? Is it triangles, angles? You tell me, and I will find an artwork that we can talk about together. What you're looking at is pre- and post-visit material. Another way that we're able to expand access using the virtual field trip program is through the creation and distribution of materials that we send to teachers, allowing them and us to extend students' learning and connection to the museum beyond their 30 to 45-minute session with a museum educator. What you're looking at more specifically is part of our STEAM programming and virtual field trips using our Chihuly collection. I should also mention, these are based on feedback we get directly from teachers. So once I've conducted a virtual field trip, I also send out a link asking teachers to fill out a survey. As part of that, we do ask them, not only what went well, but also what could we do better. A number of teachers have requested these pre- and post-visit materials to include a list of what their students will see, maybe a little bit of background information, to then have that 30 to 45-minute in-person conversation with me. And then, of course, last but not least, ways to integrate all the information they've learned into their curriculum. For my number, folks, I did want to include a few specific numbers to give you a better idea about who specifically participates in virtual field trips. Since its inception in September of 2021, the program has served over 2,700 participants. To further break that down, most of our participants are from the state of Oklahoma. However, we do have some friends who have visited us from states like New Mexico and New York. Moreover, about half of little under half, are rural Oklahomans, and that is something we would like to continue to focus on. More on that later. And last but not least, especially in this school year, the predominant majority of students that we reached are part of the Title I school sort of federal funding units. A major innovation that we're hoping to make to the virtual field trip program as we look forward to its third year is to continue to include it in our multi-visit program. This past year, the museum received funding from Art Bridges to create and conduct a multi-visit program, meaning we partner specifically with, in this case, 2 local schools. They come for an in-person field trip 2 times, and then they also have, as part of that, a virtual field trip. I just conducted one of the virtual field trips as part of this program, and I'm very happy, and I look forward to conducting the second with that lovely second school. We would like to continue this in order to really, once again, not only increase access, but also help build community partnerships and connections with our students. Of course, every time there is a new exhibition, whether it is part of our permanent collection or a visiting exhibition, we do design a virtual field trip so that students can explore that with us. So moving forward, the next few that we're especially excited about, of course, is our Rodin exhibit that is opening this summer. We also have Paul Reed Works on Paper opening this summer, and one that I think is going to be especially challenging for me, considering it has a lot of audio-video components. I look forward to that challenge, and presenting it virtually will be Preston Singletary. And of course, we're going to continue to work to expand our pre- and post-visit offerings. As you can see, we have 2 that are still in the design process, should be ready to go momentarily. One of which, of course, is everyone's favorite, The Art of Geometry, all about our Experiments in Abstraction exhibition. The second is also another popular unit, Portraits and Power. We are hoping to expand that to the rest of our permanent collection so that when students and teachers take some time to explore those with us, they not only have an introduction to our collection, they have a 30 to 45-minute exploration with a trained museum educator, and then once again, they have a way to extend that learning into their classroom. Of course, none of this would be possible with our funders. I think we have a few in the room with us right now. But it is important to highlight just how important that is to the continuing of this program and also, of course, what we've been able to accomplish thus far. I'm going to turn it over to Rosie.
And I'm happy to field any questions for either of our presenters. Yes.
The online, the collections online, is that navigating? Can you navigate to that from the regular website, or is that like different?
Maury, I'm going to repeat the question. So the question was, can you navigate to the collection search from the website?
As of yesterday, yes. So if you go to the art section of the website, if you go to OKCMOA.com, there are some options there up top for you. One of them is art. Once you click on that, you're faced with exhibitions, collection. If you click on collection from that, it will take you to collections.okcmoa.com, where you're then able to browse, search, create your favorites, etc. Once you're within Resource Space, our digital asset management system, and you come upon a file that you want to either send to someone or download, regardless of the file type that it is, once you click that download button, you're given the option to download it as either a TIFF, a JPEG, PNG, whatever file type you choose. Yes. Collections.okcmoa.com is specifically for the permanent collection and our long-term loans. It is connected to our collections database, which is known as the museum system. And so any images and information that we put in the museum system is then taken from the database and linked to collections.okcmoa.com. So Resource Space is really our internal tool for storing, searching, and finding and sharing all of our digital resources. So images and video that we take from this presentation, images that we take from exhibition openings, exhibition installation shots, archival images, press images for exhibitions, all get loaded into resource space, and then our staff can easily find those for use in promotion and also sharing with the press, general public, etc.
So I'm just going to repeat the question for the recording also to make sure that I got it, if that's okay. So please correct me if I'm wrong. The question was that predominantly what I spoke about was teachers and students, correct? But your question is if there are clubs, and I'm sorry, I forgot that other part, or virtually aggregated communities. Yeah, so of course they are welcome. We strongly encourage anyone and everyone to use that. We are also hoping to use that kind of as our next way to market this as use.
So the question is the possibility for using gigapixel images through Google's Art Camera for augmented reality. And I'm actually very happy to announce that Google has an arts and culture app that you can download. And already built into that app is the ability to view any work in Google Arts and Culture in augmented reality. So it's something that you can accomplish through Google Arts and Culture's app. And so you can view you can see the size of these images or the size of these actual works of art through Google's technology and their augmented reality. The question is, how much is the Google Art Camera? And that's a great question. I don't know. But there are similar large format and medium format cameras that are in use by larger institutions like the Met and the Getty and LACMA that have the capability to create very, very, very high resolution images. They don't have the proprietary software that Google has created in which these images are then stitched together. But one of the things that we've looked into for actually digitizing our works on paper collection is a product that's made by a company called Digital Transitions. And it's called an Atom scanner. And Google also offers a tabletop scanner that partners can borrow. We unfortunately do not have the volume of material that Google recommends you have to borrow the tabletop scanner, but the tabletop scanner that they lend out is the same Digital Transitions Atom scanner that you can purchase. And so we've looked into that technology, and it runs around for a complete package, including the software. It's around $200,000. So the Google Art Camera got to be north of $500,000, I would think. So the question was, how long does scanning a image take? And you're specifically referring to the Google Art Camera. So it depends on the actual size of the work of art that you're scanning. With larger paintings or works on paper, it takes more images. I think the longest scan that we did was the George Inness painting, The Coming Storm. I think that took about 35 minutes, and it took about 60 to 70 photos, and then stitched them all together to form a huge gigapixel image. All right, thank you all for coming.